everyone. My name is Andrew Norman, and today I'm going to be talking about my investing strategies. Most people only show their investing wins. However, today I'm going to be showing everything, what worked, what didn't, and what I learned the hard way. If you're early in investing, this will save you a ton of money. I just want to start off by saying that I am not a professional investor. In fact, I'm not rich at all. However, I'm just an 18-year-old who started investing early. I made real decisions with my money and I have lived with the outcomes. Some of these decisions ended up working out really well for me, however, some of them didn't. Quick context, I started investing with limited money about 5 years ago. I had no inside information. My goal wasn't to get rich fast, it was to actually participate in the market and learn. This was one of the best decisions I ever made. So, knowing this, let's start with what worked. One of the first things that I did was invest in Southwest Airlines. This was during the dip in 2020. So let me pull up this ticker quick. Now, they haven't been doing great recently. However, I was blessed with the fact that my dad gave me some really good advice. And it was during the big crash of 2020 I was able to put a lot of my money in. Actually, it wasn't too much at the time. I was only about 13 years old. I put maybe $200 in. But yeah, that was the first one I did. And I also happened to do a little bit in Delta Airlines. And that one was about $200 also, and that one has performed really well. Not all of my investments have been that good, but those were two great starting wins. Now, this one doesn't seem to be pulling up, so let's move on to my biggest win, I guess. And this was rather recently, and it was the S&P 500. It wasn't because I predicted anything. However, I saw something that a lot of people were afraid almost. Right when Trump had gone into his presidency, there was a decent bit of a crash. And you can see if you look down in here, actually, this may be within the last 6 months. Yeah, okay, let's go back to year. So the market had gone down quite a bit. And I didn't know if it was going to keep going down or keep going up. But I looked at it and I was like, you know what? The market has gone down, and I think that I'm just going to put $1,000 in, and if it keeps going down, I'll get some more, and if it goes up, then great. I happened to get really lucky in the fact that I invested right at about peak bottom, and that is when President Trump sent out a message on Truth Social saying buy now, and within the first day, it was up 10%, and I was thrilled about it. And ever since then, you can see it's gone up about $2,000 at six. So it's made me a good 20%. And so that was one of my best investments. I think one of the important things to realize here is that this was really lucky. However, even if I had bought in beforehand, like right before the dip, it still would have gone up. And so sometimes the key is just putting a little bit of money in, not anything major, and then that allows you can get so much potential just over the long term. Like if we look at 5 years, if I had invested earlier, even though there was a dip here, if I had invested earlier, I still would have doubled my money. So let's go on to another really big win. And this actually started out several years ago. My grandpa would give us a piece of silver as a birthday gift. And so about 4 years ago, I started buying my own. And that was one of the best decisions I ever did. I happen to do physical silver. So a downside of this is that there is a little bit of a premium. But recently, silver has gone up very high. Let's look at what it is now. Yeah, so silver is down 30 cents today, but silver is up to $63.95 an ounce at spot. Now I bought this one very consistently. Let's look in the past year. So a lot of it that I bought was around $30, and this leveled out for a while. And then right when it hit 40, I stopped investing, and I ended up getting to about 50 ounces, which I am very proud with, and that has about doubled in price. So I think there being consistent was one of the best things that I ever did. Consistent. One of the best quotes I heard was that consistency beats excitement every time. Now, I want to move on to some of the pitfalls that I made in my investing. So far in all of the wins, we found out that a lot of them I bought when it was low. And none of them were major hype things at the time. Just silver was, I mean, it was a good investment for me, but it wasn't by any means doing anything crazy that would be where everyone was had a whole bunch of hype around it. And this is where I made my first mistake was I got on the late train to a meme coin. At the time, I didn't really know what it was, so I just jumped in, and I was like, "Oh, this was up really high at one point. I'm just gonna get some." Now, luckily for me, I didn't get that much. I only got about $300 worth. But if we look at the 5 year, now I got it at about, let's see, it was probably about here. Yeah, I bought it at about 25 cents. Um, sorry, not 25 cents. 0.0002025. And it has gone down to about a third of the value. And this was a mistake in that it was a meme coin. There was a bunch of hype around it, and I was like, "Oh, I really want a meme coin." But if I'm being honest, it was not because I understood it at all. It was very hype driven. And an important thing to know is that this is not investing. This is hoping and borderline gambling at one point. And in this case, it did not pay off for me. And finally, I want to go over my last investment. It wasn't really a loss, but actually, it could maybe be a good time to put more in, but that was Bitcoin. And actually, wow, it's at right about what I bought it at. So about, I don't know, probably 9 months ago, Bitcoin was pretty low, and I bought it actually exactly at 87,000, and then it dropped a little bit, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I should have done this. And then it's just started going up, and I was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And now it's just dropped. And sometimes it sucks in the moment, but this I think that it could actually lead into a good buying time. I think a lot of stocks and like S&P 500, the Dow, a lot of them are really high right now, a lot of assets. So Bitcoin may be one that I consider putting a little bit more money into as it has dropped. But we're going to look more into that later. Overall, here's the pattern that I noticed between everything. A lot of my wins came when I was patient and I had calm thinking. I wasn't rushing into it at all. And my losses came from hype and FOMO and emotion, not intelligence. Overall, investing doesn't reward being smart, it rewards being controlled and calm and making wise decisions. Some of my advice to beginners would be if you're just starting, don't try to avoid mistakes, just avoid big mistakes. Don't try to hop onto the next meme coin and win and try to double your money in the next month. It's not going to happen. And if it does, the odds are so slim. So just be willing to put a little bit in the S&P 500, know, or something like that, a mutual fund, where it may drop a little bit in the moment, but over time, with that compounding interest, it can turn into a really big win. Overall, I'm not a financial advisor at all. I'm still learning, but I just thought it would be interesting to show my wins and losses as this is my first time making a YouTube channel, but I think that investing is very important as I've learned a lot from it, but there's still, and I know I'll be learning for the rest of my life, and there's a lot of money to be made and a lot of money to be lost. But I think that's real investing. It's just trying to do your best at it and making the best choice possible. If this helped you, please subscribe, comment the investment lesson that you learned the hard way, some of your greatest investments or some of your worst. Thank you.